Hello, welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Corum. This is what matters to me. Level systems. Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition in particular is a level-based system. The character's progression comes in a set of plateau steps. You get a certain amount of experience under your belt, and you go up a level. Where this some character classes, you can justify that happening in the middle of an adventure. Sometimes you got to think about, maybe I need to go back and get some training. But for the most part, either the accumulation of experience points, every monster, every encounter, every trap is worth a certain amount of experience. You tally those up. When you hit that number of them, hey, wow, we have gone up a level. Or you benchmark it. When we finish this adventure, everyone will go up a level, which I prefer. It cuts down on the accounting in the middle of the game. I don't want to have to be doing more math as I'm running a game, because no one else is going to really keep track of their experience, unless you're calling out numbers and what everything is worth as it goes along, and that kind of breaks the immersion. It's like, well, that's a goblin. That's worth 30 XP. So why? Just benchmark it at some point. When you're starting a campaign, there's a question that gets asked around the table. One of the first questions. Yeah, the dungeon master talks about, I've got this idea for a campaign. We're going to be doing this, that kind of stuff, in this kind of place. So you might want to make up characters for that. And one of the questions that gets asked, what level are we starting at? What level are we starting at? Because not every game has to start with the characters at first level. Side note, I like starting characters at first level. I like starting characters at first level because by the time we get to the meat and potatoes of the game, which is generally going to happen at a slightly higher level, you've got a history for that character. You know how they got where they're at. You know every act and everything that they've done to acquire their reputation, to get their skills. You've got a direction for the character based on past experience. All of which you can write. All of which can just be prose. You can write that as backstory. Start at a higher level and backstory what happened those first few levels of the character's life. Or you can play it out. Not everyone wants to play out those first few levels. They tend to go pretty quick because it doesn't take as much experience or as many acts to get to your higher levels when you start out very low. But again, maybe the campaign doesn't call for that ground level starting off from bare minimum. I like to run campaigns 1 to 20. Because by the time you get done with that, there's this history that you've built up. You can still build up that history with a slightly higher level of competence when you begin with. What level do we start at? In D&D. And this is a D&D specific thing, particularly 5th edition. First level, if you want to have that scrabbling around, hiding from the shadows, trying to make it on just what you've got in your pocket and a raw set of skills, where you want all the history of the character. If you want to get a little bit more, you want the character to have just a little bit more definition, some better idea where they're going, third. At third level, characters pick up their subclass, and that defines much more about where the character is going and how they're doing things. You get the character's method of operation, or MO, at third level. Yeah, you're a fighter, so you go and hit things, but do you do that with a little magic? Do you have a certain level of mastery over your skills? Eldritch Knight, Battle Master, what do you think? How you approaching this from here? And that's, every class has their subclasses at third, and that is a good point. You're still kind of struggling. You're still trying to get by, but you've got a couple of tricks under your belt and you know where you're going. Character progression goes a little clearer from there. Sure. You're dangerous. You got a reputation. We're starting off this game where I've got a little bit more of those skills under my belt and I'm dangerous, got a reputation, and I'm the kind of person who's going to get called for jobs like this. 5th 5th or 6th, you're starting to pick up some of that dangerous edge. Your proficiency's gone up a little bit. You are skilled and considered a much more competent individual. We are the heroes of the land. We are already the people who get called and stuff like this. Ninth or 10th. Ninth or 10th is about as high as I would start a campaign, because the level system, ideally, base book goes up to 20. You can do Paragon levels past that, but at 20th level, you are almost ready to get written out of the story and another generation follow you along. So you want to be able to get there. Progression is a part of the game. 10th level is about as high as I'd start. You guys have some strong abilities. You have good proficiency. You have a lot of your special stuff under your belt, your battle maneuvers or your spells. You are ready to get out there and toe-to-toe with some of the big names. I had a dungeon master once start as a 20th level. It's a one-shot game, 20th level. And at 20th level, you are just well and beyond the ken of just about everything else out there. You are next to demigods, and perhaps on your pathway to being a demigod. And yeah, you have gotten there. It's no longer about your journey. You have arrived. And that was fun for a one shot, but not for a campaign. That's not a starting place for a campaign. It's a starting place for a game. So where do you start? You start where the campaign feels like it needs to. What level of competency is going to make this game both challenging, because there still needs to be some challenge there. There needs to be some opposition you are going to struggle against, but also something where the game master can let the players know their characters are the appropriate level of badass. First level, you're not a badass. You might be a badass on paper, but there's a lot of stuff that's just gonna kick your teeth in, and you need to get past that level to get to better stuff. But past that, well, yeah, you're third level characters, and this is a first level threat, but we'll throw a couple of them at you and let you. You guys are getting dangerous because you can take these things out now. These things used to give you trouble, but no, those aren't a problem. At 10th level, those 7th, 8th level things that would have annihilated you at first level, now you're dealing with them with a fair amount of regularity. Okay. Oh, there's a number of them. Well, that ought to up the challenge. Let me roll my sleeves up and throw a big spell now. Running a Lord of the Rings style campaign. Let's use Lord of the Rings as an example. If you're playing the Hobbits first level, the Hobbits started off with all the potential and none of the experience, and they just stepped out of the Shire, and this is the first time they've ever had a blade or a weapon or an adventure. They had an innate ability, to be unnoticed, but aside from that, they are wet behind the ears and in imminent danger of dying at every step of the way. Yeah, first level. Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, the heroes, 7th, 8th level. They're established adventurers. They've got experience under their belt. They've got some weapons. They know what they're doing. They've got lore for the world that everyone else doesn't have because they've been there. They've seen things. Gandalf's an NPC. Can't really run Gandalf as a character in that alongside everyone else, unless you nerf him considerably. The wizard of the party should match everyone else. You're not going to see a Gandalf-style wizard in that game specifically. Wizards in Tolkien and wizards in Dungeons and Dragons, two entirely different things. Could you run both those groups concurrently as part of the same group? You could. The hobbits are going to be leveling a lot faster than everyone else because you level faster at lower levels. They're never quite going to catch them, but you could. That can be entertaining as long as Folks know, well, you folks are going to be failing a lot and you folks are going to be succeeding a lot, and that's just how this game's going to be. I've run worse. Running something more like Mystery Men, where folks are, they're the other guys. They're not the competent heroes, but they're heroes. They're out there just trying to get by. Fourth or fifth. They've got some of their special stuff. They have the things that identify them as who they are. And now, we need to deal with a world that wants to kick our teeth in constantly. Yeah, this is, fourth or fifth. It's all about how competent people start out and what the opposition that the dungeon master has in their mind for this game, what that matches up best against. Well, there's a bunch of low-level threats I've got that I'll at least want to start off with, first, second level. I want this to be dangerous in the beginning. I want something that will murder the populace to be a challenge for the players, fifth or sixth. I want to put a high-level organization of people out there that is trying to do terrible things to the land, and maybe there's a greater threat out there that needs to be dealt with within the first few games, eighth or ninth. Again, you don't really want to go much higher than that because you want there to be progression. One-shots. It works well for one-shots to have higher-level characters. I can imagine a game at 20th level characters who start off with the task of there is a goblin village that is just in squalor in an area with poor resources and high infant mortality rates, and they're just barely getting by. And one of those goblins managed to fairly acquire a gold piece. They found it on the edge of a dungeon, something that got shaken off by another adventurer, and they've got this gold piece, and they want to get food for their village. They want to get enough food that everyone doesn't starve. And if that goblin accomplishes it, that's the goblin of legend. That's the chosen one. If they manage to get that quest of theirs done, spend this gold piece at that town, get that food, and get that food back to their village, then their village can become a wonderful place, and the goblins in that area might actually be able to step up and become a part of society and bring a whole world of diversity and art and language and help the land travel forward in peace and cooperation. If that goblin succeeds, if that goblin has the confidence at the end of that to lead their people. So you've got a group of 20th level characters who needs to make sure that goblin succeeds without the goblin ever knowing that they were being helped. That goblin has to succeed at this and believe that the goblin did it on their own. A bunch of 20th level characters sitting back, watching this happen. Oh gosh, there's bandits. We got to do something about it. Well, I'll go kill the bandits. The goblin's got to think he can handle it. What do we do? What do you do? They get to town. People want to roust the goblin. There's a problem with the merchant. Now they've got all this huge amount of food. How are they going to get all this food back? How do 20th level characters with all the abilities in the world help this goblin do what they need to do without the goblin knowing? That's a one shot. That's a one shot I would run. I would run that one shot as a pre-game to a longer campaign that has this goblin presence in the campaign world, where those characters got this done, stepped back and ushered this quietly as just a push here and there, as subtly as possible, help these goblins arrive to the world stage. And so those characters are all background now. You make up new characters in this land, some of whom might be goblins from that tribe. Level's a tool. Level's a tool that helps you play the game and set your tones. And yeah, play a few games and try different levels. If your group is just starting off, or you're just starting to ask the question, what level are we at? Play with it. Try a few different ones. See what works for you. Your mileage may vary. I like starting with first level. Starting with third level is a little more interesting. Starting at fifth level gives you, say, fifth or sixth, gives you a good, solid footing hero starting point. And if that's what you're looking for, no reason not to. Well, thank you for following me along in this particular rant. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you did enjoy the video, give me a thumbs down. Feedback is feedback. Comment on my last video, the last video where I talked about imagining a tavern, and I came up with the name of the Happy Hobbit for this tavern. User Blackstone Plainview, thank you for your comment. Mentioned 24/7 Sun and Moon, and that's such a better name for that tavern. So moving forward, because I do intend to talk about that tavern and the area around it again, that's just the Sun and the Moon in my head, because it's a much better name. Thank you very much. If you have ideas about the subjects I'm talking about, or if there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, subjects you'd like to hear me cover, questions you'd like to hear me answer, please leave me a comment below. I will love getting your comment, and you'll love leaving me one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, why not? My channel is awesome. Please hit the subscribe button. If you do, you might want to hit the notification bell as well, so you're alerted when my videos become available. If you would like to contribute to the channel in a more substantial manner, I invite you to hit me up my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorum, and consider donating. Absolutely anything helps. Allows me to make better videos more often. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'm Scott Corum. This is what mattered to me. And I'll see you next time on Matters of DeCorum.